Hi guys, it's Mike. Welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Okay, it's after snack. So see, it says 1400. Blood sugar's gone up to 11.1. It's higher, but it's not super high. Blood sugar is 4 blood sugar. Yeah, I just said that, Mike. Amount of insulin to live or active is 4.875. Okay. I've had 2 big corrections, so it's trying to keep me under control. So it's right there. Now, if we move it over, current time of range is 87. We've gone up. 13% is above, 87% in range, and this number is staying pretty good. So, guess what, guys? We're counting this as a win. Yay for us. Now, today's topic. I have to tell you the truth. I was taping this, ready to go, and I totally went blank. Today's topic is living with T1D. It's amazing. I checked. I choose 3 topics to discuss every day and choose the best one. The others are rotated in, and I'll eventually discuss those. But today we're talking about living with type 1 diabetes. Stay tuned. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Living with type 1 diabetes can seem a little hard to comprehend. I've always felt that a politician should be given a glucometer, insulin syringe, have to count the carbs, have to go through what a type 1 diabetes person has to go through before they come up with any medical plans. Now, I'm sure there are people like me who think that about any disease out there, but I always thought to have people really understand what a type 1 diabetic has to go through. And a lot of times people don't realize this. So I want to talk to you about, over the years, what I have done and what my life is like now, and what my life was like when I had to get up and go to work each day, and how I incorporated diabetes into my life. First of all, it's something you can't opt out of. People are going to come saying, oh, they have great hacks for you. You know, the best results you're probably going to have is if you stick close to what your doctor said. I kind of learned this the hard way, and I used to have problems bleeding when I did a finger poke, getting enough blood for the little strip. And so when I was in the hospital, we'd have a little portable TV, and there used to be like a little earphone that you could plug in so you could hear the TV. And in there, the cord, and I'd use the cord and I wrap around my finger and I punch it and I'd get little squirts of blood. So there was always enough until my finger got infected. And the doctor said, "Well, why are you getting infected?" I said, I wash my hands before. "Well, but why are you getting infected?" And they told him, "Well, this is how I do it." And on another finger, I showed him how I did it from washing till I got the blood sugar number. And he said, that was probably the problem. And I had learned this hack in a book, some book or some article, and it just doesn't work. So, sticking close to the techniques that you were taught in training and after through qualified medical professionals is probably the best answer. So, what do? Well, keeping your body normal as possible. It is going to be difficult. No lie. It's not going to be easy. But what I used to do is on days I had to work, I would get up, I would shower. Oh, no, sorry. I would get up, I would do my blood test. Memory's going, old age here. I would get up, do my blood test, take my insulin, shower, shave, got dressed, ate breakfast, and then I was off to work. I would have lunch at work because our cafeteria has always had a wonderful selection. If I was teaching a class, lunch was bought for. So I didn't have to buy lunch. But I would scoot back. If I was training class, I'd scoot back. I'd quickly do a blood sugar, record in my book, take my insulin, and go into my course. It was great. Would go home. I would get off about 4:30. The building closed at 4:30. I was usually out of there by 5. I would get home, and I would not necessarily eat right away. I'd probably collapse, sleep for about half hour to 45 minutes, get up, cook my dinner, have my dinner, watch some TV, and that was it. But I would take an insulin dose before dinner. I forgot to mention that. You know, now that you're on the pump, thinking back to when you were on the injections, and then a shot before bed. Then the next day would get up and do it all over again. My weekends, I would get up at 9, maybe 10, and start my whole day then, which Mondays and Tuesdays, my blood sugars were lower. I wonder why. Because you get up earlier, you already have insulin going in you, and you inject. With this little device now, We can get up and have breakfast whenever we want. We just have to count carbs. If we miss a meal, you won't necessarily go low. If but if you inject insulin, the insulin's already in your body. So you're going to have to eat to keep your blood sugars within acceptable ranges. There were times I'd be working and I shouldn't have been working. I went to work after my training career kind of ended. I was hired by a grocery store as a cashier, and I did my cashiers. And a lot of times my breaks were later than they should have been. And I started to drop. And I can remember there was a day I was working there, and the person who was working the service desk didn't really like me, and she wanted her break before me, so she took that and pushed mine back. And I ended up going low and tried to make it upstairs to where I could eat. And I crashed all into a display and was unconscious. So if you're injecting, I'll be doing a series on injecting insulin. You be aware of this. Don't miss meals if you are just injecting insulin. If you're using an insulin pump, the rules kind of change. Ideally, most doctors would like people on the pumps. It offers better control. If you're able to get control using the syringe, by all means, do it. If you want to do that all the time, kudos for you. But you have to be on top of it. You have to watch what you eat. You have to count your carbs accurately, whether you're on the pump or injecting. I would take out my calculator and I would do calculations. If I was brown bagging it that day, I knew what was in there. If we had a meatloaf sandwich, it was going to be higher carb count than a bologna sandwich, let's just say. Just because I knew what was in my mom's meatloaf sandwiches. So, you're going to have to get up. God forbid you have to get up. You have to have a blood test. You have to have insulin. You have to get ready for the day. You have to eat breakfast. And then you have to get out of the house. Lunch, you need time to do a blood test, take insulin if needed, eat lunch, and then dinner, you need to do a blood test. Whichever system that works that you have set up, stick with it. You'll get an awesome if you're consistent. Now, my dad, when I was living with him years ago, kind of made it the point that every day I would get up at 6 and start my whole routines. Therefore, on the weekends, I still had to get up at 6. And he kept saying, oh, well, after you do all your blood stuff and everything, you can go back to bed. Never made it back to bed because he would have lists. Oh, have this done by noon and then we'll start our regular family chore day. I got the short end of the stick. Life as a T1D, you can expect people will try to offer you something different to be inclusive. I can remember when I was diagnosed, it was a time of year of Halloween, and I was having a Halloween party. I was invited, and everyone got their little treat bags, which is great, which is fine, and I got a chicken salad sandwich. For a group that worked with kids to have giving your diabetic a chicken salad sandwich when everyone else got candies. Dad realized for the first time how restrictive everything was going to be. Nowadays, we're living in a world where there is less restrictions, and that's a positive thing. So, I honestly believe that having type 1 diabetes and living with type 1 diabetes is just a series of things you have to do each day. Now, we talked about earlier giving yourself insulin and injecting and eating regularly works when you are injecting yourself with insulin, the same amount of insulin all the time. You could now, I believe, people like to inject, they inject less insulin at night so they can last long in the morning and sleep in. With the pump, you can do different basal rates. With my pump and a closed loop system, my body takes care of it with the pump. The pump reads my blood sugar and gives me a basal rate according to that. The number of times I've woken up high or low has decreased with this little machine. It's a winner. So, life with type 1 diabetes doesn't have to be life full of misery and worry. Keeping your blood sugar as close to normal as possible will help everything. Remember that. And as you grow, remember that. If you want to rebel as a young teenager, don't choose your diabetes because you could run into problems. Take it from me. And with that, have a great day and we will talk later. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.